Morning.
Thanks for sending that picture.
Yeah,
I think Paige might have some ask her before we run out so we can test it, you know.
you just wanna get some fun and borrow mine.
Well,
Mine's a little tricky to get, it gets to temp, they'll tell you what's in temperature, and you're cutting it, you're like, you can try to get it worse. You know what? You keep them covered in dog legs right now. One of the dogs I have with me is just a Edinburgh dog. So you start to do something and you gotta turn around.
Stuff.
Cricket, you already have 3 legs, so maybe take out another. There you go. You need a greater strength.
Is that?
You need a greater strength. So this is just black,
Wow, look at you.
and then I'll fill this up throughout the day. So if you need it, go
All
for it.
right, thanks. I'm gonna take a little splash.
It's 8 AM. You need your cookie yet? Here, brother, go cookie yet? Oh, you can do like that. My grandma always made treats for us when I go learn Valentine's, so sometimes we might do it later. And then I'm getting her, I would start turning the car around and take it back. So that didn't happen anymore. Two vests, one vest, how's the vest count today? How many vests? Looks like one. It's gonna be warmer out.
Mike and Jessica may appear on Zoom.
Good. Thanks.
They have a link.
Who's on Zoom?
Good.
You said Jesse who?
Mike,
Cool. Yeah, he was able to make it.
he says he's gonna try.
Okay, that's nice.
Morning, everyone.
Ready to be official here?
I can only be here an hour this morning. I got a eye doctor's appointment in Centennial.
You got these over to 511 in Gwinnett?
Yep.
Cool. I
Okay.
Mike and Jessica are gonna try to appear on Zoom.
Paul too.
Yeah, I see Paul. Trying to promote.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's spring.
There's my driveway.
You're gonna do an business, right? Yeah.
Tell me about the grass, Bob. Tell me about this grass.
Rest.
I met Patty from the burro races yesterday. She was like, yeah, the burros will be tied up on the fence and they need the grass or the leaves. And I'm like, let's go walk to the park really quick.
So Bob, they have your parking lot and your.
Yeah. Right, that's it, that's it.
You weren't here last week.
Well, no, I've got this back.
Oh, okay.
This is the slightly repaired one. Question more.
Does it look like her?
No, this one doesn't. Well, folks, I have 8 AM on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. So I would like to call to order the Georgetown Business Promotion Commission. We are meeting at Town Hall located at 404 6th Street. And our mission is for the Town of Georgetown Business Promotion Commission. We are an appointed board that enhances the economic climate in Georgetown, Colorado through marketing, events, and community outreach. The commission's goals are to support business license holders and nonprofit organizations to operate successfully and to create a positive experience for visitors. May I have a roll call, please?
Kevin Kuhar,
Present.
Craig Abrahamson.
Here.
Paul Boat,
Please mute
Here.
Mary Smith,
Here.
Gary Haynes.
Here.
Mike Huggins.
Here.
We have agenda approval, please. I think there are some.
Are we not prepared to move the discussion on our events person's evaluation of salary? Okay.
Am I being heard? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike.
Okay.
Can you hear us? So can I add on the agenda, a discussion regarding our events and marketing manager, coordinator, coordinator, what's us coordinator? I have a question. Look, it changed, did you?
Did it change? Oh, I wasn't aware it changed.
I think it changed. Oh, that's okay. You didn't
What's the title now?
manager?
Special event, marketing and special events manager?
Sometimes it's easy just to say coordinator, coordinate.
Well, that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. It changed.
Yeah, and then contact.
Okay.
So we can discuss that, when we discuss that, when we add that onto the.
I believe we also want to add, Mr. Bob Hamilton to talk about the Sprouts Park status. So those two items, anything else? Motion. Audience business, members of the audience will have 5 minutes to present any matter of interest related to business in the town that is not already on the agenda. Those attending virtually may use the chat feature. No official action is taken. Anybody? Do we have any business?
Scorpion Tower? Okay,
They did get a business license.
so then there's someone official.
Cause I wanted to make sure. They had tires and. You would finish business. Let's go ahead and start, with Mr. Beaton, not this. Thank you. There are really two items in the one is about the report, it's an update, and the main focus has been getting some more budget numbers nailed down. And the budget report that you see in the package, basically about 80% of the total cost of $350,000 plus is nailed down in a couple contracts. And we physically starting work. First thing we done some concrete. So all the concrete are treated by the wall, one plant, these one years. Concrete floor in the section area. Concrete floor. That will set us up to be able to go ahead with the flagstone work. So we'll have the a while back, there was some discussion regarding should we or shouldn't we expand the parking lot. Discussion item. My task was to look at that and see what it would cost, what benefit it would be in terms of additional spaces. I went through that review, there's a couple discussion right after the package, along with a couple of diagrams. The DHM design is technically 10 spaces, and actually there's 11 count one farm and the park with tons of. So we have, right now, we have effectively 11 legitimate parking spaces. If we were to remove the evergreen tree and the surface area, we could get another 5 spaces. That doesn't. Plus one handicap versus 16. I did look up what the typical design parameters are for the parking spot width and height. Access space. We within typical numbers. I think it's doable. Cost is $30,000 to enlarge the space, and then on top of that, we'll do site. That will pay the asphalt Hi, where we are. Again, I'd like the attendance to get some information happen. Provide any additional feedback. I don't think we need to switch on the technical. Nice. Wow. I'd like to balance the time. One question. Here's the issues, the trees on the community. Something, we should, some question. One of the comments that I've been regularly, noticed is, about a lack of parking. And, so to me, this looks like an opportunity to make some progress, positive progress in the direction. If you look at percentages, 5 more spaces as compared to 11. Quite a significant step forward. To potential loss of the tree, which was before we can replace that tree with caliper, which is more appropriate locations for it. Because of the threat of fire, and more because of the size of the tree, because buildings location in smart commercial district with residency. It seems like a good opportunity to reduce risk as well as increase spaces to be. The other thing is we don't know what the future will hold. But the community on occasion discussed in possibly building our markets. And so those spaces could be lost in the future. 5 years, but we have an opportunity now to solve the immediate problem and for the future. When it comes to pushback on the tree, tree expert could do it for you. Tell us the health of the tree. That's another expense. We don't believe we have any sort of tree warnings that tests. I think the most fully thing to do to spots. So,
Especially because we have additional businesses now in that area. That may require some more traffic, and I know we have to provide for more parking, however, the city wants to attract as many people to establish this as possible. However, I do have that song in the back of my head. But I would personally be in favor of additional parking on probably this is the time to do it. And again, reminding us that we have a events manager who wants to plan more events, and some will be
Secondly, we would support the extension of this lot and support our mission because it supports business license holders. See when you start question. This was historically been called that. You know, the bridge parking lot is not, it's not that. Because of that, it's actually less. First one, my thoughts were is if you expand, I would elevate that rear end of the property. No matter what you do, he's got a problem on his property. His property is below the suggested to put the power line, like the tree, his gutters. This comes right down, right now it's coming right down to the difference. He's put a little hole in the ground with a pump in it. So, I would want to get at least 1% on the after price line. So, um, it's not something. It's, I think it's reason. I mean, that's in my mind as well. You know, who would be responsible for the fact that his property is below the acceptable grade? And he's it's pretty on this spot. I haven't seen it changing. It's still, it is what it is. Gravel pit would go a long way to eliminating any flow from the parking lot into his property. The root cause of the problem with the drainage in this area, by and large, the drainage gutters into that hole. The drainage situation is literally just. Decided by yeah, but I think
Now, if that's the improvement down the line, I'm talking about that moving forward this summer and completion of the entire Stone Park and parking area.
if you could find the funding for it, would be the second half of the summer. We have those students. Okay, as far as all the parking is concerned, parking machine. Onto, parking maintenance.
Howdy, good morning. We had a fantastic Easter this past weekend. This was a last minute event that the town agreed to put on, which was a little bit of a last minute expense. I just want to make sure we did have it in our budget, so we are clear on that, but we did have to host 4,000 eggs filled in with candy and make sure that they were sold appropriately. So between the eggs that were roughly about 230 with the additional candy, which was also roughly 230, we spent close to horrible things. But nothing too crazy. It was definitely an expense that we felt was necessary. Along with asking donations from people within our own community. We had called on Corner Hub and donate and that was really amazing. When it came to the bullet and prizes, we switched it up a little bit this year. We got donations from Love and Steve's, Scooters Barbecue, Argo Mine, Phoenix Mine, and the Georgetown Railroad. I think even though this is a little bit of a religious holiday, we really focus on the family aspect and keeping everyone together. Which day of the weather turned out beautiful. People stayed in the park for hours after. It was really a fun thing. And also I wanted to give a shout out to Georgetown Valley Candy Company. They also donated 50 ice cream vouchers for Kids Cup. So, there was a lot of hands-on out there. We have a couple non-town events that I helped out with, volunteering for. We do have other things coming up like our slacker, burro races, other kind of fun things we'll get to a little bit later. So in total, from now, the town has adopted 2 new events that we're budgeted for. So I'm just trying to be more mindful. That was our Colorado Pond Hockey Tournament, which wasn't too much of an expense, but always want to be mindful of. And then now Easter. Our welcome, discussion on how to adopt those into our future planning, just because our college hockey is staying. And I'm so excited that if the town chooses to continue wants to, that'd be great. We do have the opportunity to partner with a sheriff. They did have certain egg time, perhaps we can either pass it off or work together. Just a couple ideas, especially to alleviate the cost. Once we have the eggs, we are asking people to donate that. So we hopefully won't have that much expense. Always want to be mindful of. I did meet with Patty from the burro races. They are coming back. And I wanted to discuss how their fee structure was in previous years. She mentioned that we do have it in our budget for a $500 donation, but perhaps we did it at $750 to do a street closure fee. That sounds like anybody. I didn't quite see it in the paperwork. I'm going to discuss that with BPC, and if that's not familiar, can that be enhanced? About $250, so it changed the donation from 500 to 750, just cover that and.
So are you keeping a
Excel spreadsheet?
so that with some of the events that we aren't having or we're not spending that much, that
Yep.
we're still kind of coming within the
Now,
ballpark?
wonder if that should be taken off, however, we did have those 2 that I want to be mindful of that much there, or, unless we're advising to that go from a different source, we're just kind of playing with our numbers for watching, but it's not gonna be exact.
I think it's more of a concern of going over, because that was kind of a discussion a month or 2 ago, is not having additional expenses.
Yes. We would still be allowed.
So it's looking weird to see. Unless they're transferring to.
We'll still keep chugging on with our $500 donation as our new budget. Yeah.
Just from time.
Town and I can discuss, and I honestly have not thought that through yet.
I mean, I've been big.
Another ask, which keeping in mind, we did have that budget conversation of how we're trying to limit our spending. The Colorado Pond Hockey is coming to do a video for my gym. We're inviting a couple of professional hockey players, but that does come with professional fee. They're trying to make this as much as a Georgetown video as it is a Colorado Pond Hockey video. So they're asking to split the advertising cost of $2,000, which is still a lot considering our marketing budget. It is in there. We haven't really spent anything beyond $645. However, is that a budget that we want to go for?
Can you describe the details of the episode?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're. Oh, okay. So they're going to be going around to different parts of Georgetown to be highlighting. So they're going to be going to the training. They'll be out about and doing a poker game. They'll be probably down by the lake, just highlighting why it's important, just not just for their pond hockey community, but why it's important to play in Georgetown. So I feel like this would be very much dollars behind where we'll get an ROI, but I want to hear.
So, I don't have all the names, but these are, if you've seen the video, that's there's some really significant personalities that tracks viewership. These are legitimate. These are legitimate. And I just. What's the other outside? So that's. What's it?
Yeah.
So when you say 2,000, is that on Georgetown's cut, or is that the entire thing?
That's Georgetown's portion. Yep. Especially with the video production along with the other portion of the, yeah. So, it's little to them, but it's a lot to.
It's the cost. That's.
How's it going to be, or how and when is it going to be used and shown, and how are we going to get, the extra boost from it outside of just the pond hockey promotion? How can we?
We've discussed having a contract in place that gives Georgetown the credit that it deserves. We've seen some things fall through the cracks, but it will have each of the hockey players in socials. We need it on their website. How can we get Parker involved? Pushing his followers. Are we putting it on, Hulu ads in between? I kind of talked about some outrageous things with David, of course, but as long as we get the minor exposure, that will do a lot of exposure because people have at least 70,000 plus on their social account. I think that once we get the video back, we can do paid advertising and maybe target specific those that hockey is popular in, and then really try to build up this to make February in Georgetown, Colorado, be the fun hockey. We have one really great one. We have another one the next week. What if we do one before it all starts? When we're wrapping up. I think this could really help push us in the right direction for becoming something a little bit more the.
So we have the rights to use that video and put it on maybe our website. and when you say it's time, so when we're advertising winter activities, we roll that out, you know, at the time. Can we push it maybe before they're pushing it? We have all the rights to use that, or if Kevin wants to show it in conjunction with some, you know, historic ice skating, well, yeah, exactly, you know, I mean, do we have full rights and access to it? I think that would be important too, so that we can.
Should we do a condition? Condition, the town should have rights to that, not necessarily rights for business.
I'm just trying to throw out.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to show. So my feeling is, that's the is that we're not open up. Is this, you know, just on certain,
I'm trying to see where he's at with that, and if there is another budget conversation, I'd rather just stick to, you know, if we can get the rights to it and do our own social advertising, that's one thing, but if we can't do it.
maybe Spotify, some sort of.
I'm sure there can be, but some of them, a lot of like, is for their ideas. So it just, you would be depending on how the voiceover would go, like, and also like, oh, the loop is so great, or, oh, 511 is the place to be. It can be a little difficult to portray towards translate. Yeah.
We're shutting up all that.
Yeah. No, they'll be doing a sign, they'll be going to the train, they'll be coming to 511 because the hockey players and organizers they'll be fire pit, they'll be walking around 6th Street, they'll be migrating into other popular. But also once they leave 6th Street, they'll probably just be because those are the two areas that they spend the most time.
See, I can see this being shown at the Loop Center, you know. I don't know if we have that, we talked about it so many times, but, you know, if that opportunity were to be available to us. So, I mean, if we're putting some money into this, I would like us to be able to use it and us to be able to determine when and where we feel it's most appropriate. And I don't want to take it away from any particular business that might be having something related to that gives a little promo, because it's not for that business, it's for everybody in that business that's walking through.
I agree. Necessarily, I would like to. Just an argument to see that side. Something else for me is something else. Focusing on that, one business change advertising and made the focusing on it. And so I just want to make sure that if you're doing right, you know, it's more of a shared situation or a situation our site, it's our brand, they're themselves, that's what so change focus from 10 services to that's
I agree with that. And, but again, back to the pond hockey people. Oh, we need our arrangement made with them so that they're giving us, the town, the rights, and then we can discuss how anyone else.
I wasn't challenging that.
No, I understand, yeah. We probably talk way more than we need to for a $2,000 investment, as long as pond hockey is giving us the opportunity to use it as the town sees fit, then we can tweak out the rest of how perhaps an individual or what it's gonna be. Okay?
I'll say one thing too. We put a lot of effort into a commercial that came and donated a ton of time for this Sunday commercial.
Over
We made
Breckenridge?
a bunch of promises to expose Georgetown and have a name, and then they cut Georgetown out. It's in Breckenridge. And so I just want to make sure the day we have Georgetown. They're gonna use this as a generic labor. It's easy to use.
Excellent. From my understanding, this is gonna be like someone's opening the train car and all players are coming out. Like, you'll be able to distinctly recognize the Georgetown sign, and we will have the accredited ranks. I did follow up with the media team, we discussed this forever ago, but you know, it was on them. It was their but they already had it with Breckenridge, and when Breckenridge decided to back out, they didn't update the contracts. But when we asked for the follow-up and how do we rectify this, they're like, well, the money's already spent, that just is what it is. And I'm like, I'm very aware of how that much affects our town. So we want to have the accreditation, we want to be Georgetown, we want them to say, oh, this is where Gretzky plays.
Yeah, we're doing
But-
that won't happen.
No, no,
Shots. If you said shot at that part. I'm sure you want to see trying shots. Shots. On speed,
Let's be consistent with our branding too, because I know they took one of our old, logos. And, yeah, and I know that there's a certain attraction to that, but again, BPC, a couple of years ago, spent tons of money to create, you know, so we just want to be pushing that one, so we want that.
well, and some great ideas came from our fun hockey debrief. One of them this year would be designing instead of a t-shirt with a previous logo, but designing a jersey with the town's logo. And maybe even finding a way to get other communities, the artist community, into maybe like a competition, and they can submit their idea. And, you know, they love the t-shirt, but it's like a jersey. So there's a lot of ways that we're trying to think and upgrade for next year. I think this video would help kick it off. But I definitely do want to keep businesses in mind. And just to give you an idea of the tight turnaround, this is coming Friday.
I'm just gonna ask, yeah.
And I will be on site helping, so even if this wasn't allowed, I will be nerding out about Georgetown all day to these people. So please, if I call you randomly and say, can we get into the Hotel Peru Museum? Just know I love you.
So our media advertising
That
budget
is
is 25,000. Okay, which was asked earlier, so just throw that out. I don't know how much we've spent out of that.
635.
Okay, so we've got just over 24 in our budget for advertising.
And
I moved to we, to $2,000 cost you.
Second,
Discussion. Any opposed?
alrighty, well, moving right to our media highlights. There was a lot of media coverage. Some of it wasn't exactly earned media, it was just reporting on their snowstorm, but the two at the top here from CBS and KGNU were talking about how the children were out having a good time and we had skiers in town. It was really a wonderful place to show that our community is still fun with 3 feet of snow hanging around. And then of course, there was this really fun video on YouTube driving around small mountain town, Georgetown, goodness. It's a really great video. It starts with them driving in, down 6th Street, very adorable. And then of course, the 11 best things to do in Georgetown vacation. I can give you a lot more than just 11, but it's always fun to be. Going into event planning, we do have the Epic Cleanup Day for Rotary. That is moved to May 18th. This is typically done in June. When I reached out to some of our car clubs who participate, they had this marked on their calendar for June. So we're trying to see who can all be involved, still help out. Town will of course go around and the dumpsters on location, so residents can just come and clean house.
So I've had a number of conversations with Steve and his, this is, so we moved our company today to coincide with this one. There's some history behind how it's made. But this is a fraction of we need to Georgetown change. I don't have time to do.
I'm going there Friday, so I can definitely.
Call me.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Just send me his information, I'll get you that. Oh,
So Parks and Rec jobs.
No, they're supporting, that they switched their date to
That's me.
support this, yeah. And for anyone who was at the last Devil's Gate, that John Sprunger and Allison presented, there coincidentally, there was a somewhat of a historic letter on May 18th where the police judge at the time wrote this flowery letter about cleaning up the town, dragging out the trash from your basement, your cellar, whatever, putting it out front, and that the actual police marshal would come and clean up your stuff. Anyway, might be cute from our standpoint. If we can't dig that letter up, I'm sure we can get it from one of them because they had it on the presentation. See if there's anything that we can, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to poke fun at police department being responsible for that. Obviously, they're not. But and it was, and I may have it a little bit gray on the facts, but it was.
My father was the marshal for time.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Maybe it was him.
sanitation engineer.
So,
Law enforcement.
yeah.
No, yeah, I'm trying to get younger with Allison on Friday, so I'll definitely reach out to her to get that information. And then I'll connect with Steve before Friday, so Friday. So it's. Alrighty, we've got other things coming in, so Mountain James is hosting approximately about 14 different concerts throughout the summer. My goal is to have car shows and music concerts going on to coincide with, you know, having multiple events for different variety of people. A lot of our vendors are really excited. Some of them, of course, have been booked, just because city markets. A lot of Denver markets are just notorious and we're just kind of keeping it off the ground. So I'm hoping to get those locked in by mid to late April, and then we'll be able to really start pushing out and saying who will be here, what kind of events, do you want to practice, want to snack, come hang out, listen to music. Memorial weekend is going to be coming up. Georgetown Day. Friday we have our pancake breakfast. Saturday the borough races. And Mountain Jams kick off, if I'm understanding correctly. Cool. And then Sunday will be our small business day, leading into Monday Memorial Ceremony. This Sunday small business day is where I'm kind of focusing my planning. A lot of these organizations come in and they know how to run their pancake breakfast, they know how to do the borough races for getting in their paperwork, but how can we build up our small businesses? I've had some businesses who are willing to hire a face painter and willing to do anything to kind of attract our store, but what can we do as a town? This company always pitches in, and I wanna do more for their efforts, but also showcase to other ones, like, if the coupon book isn't successful, what can we do? Do we shut down the street? Do we host, you know, maybe a food truck, even though that does take away from our small businesses? You know, where's the fun play? What attracts people to 6th Street and get the building there?
And can be easy to put out this town. Pancake breakfast.
Is BBC, Amanda's. Now she's gone.
Yeah, and it'd be more support.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll see you one now. Just talk to you about that.
Well, perhaps maybe I should come up with some rules, goals, and schedule, so like.
As a restaurant too, prep.
Yeah.
Amanda. So, yeah, but,
So
let's say,
maybe if I kind of have those roles and a sign ready to go, maybe here and I can get the community center getting the pancakes together and then having them all can cook them and then me and Craig can do cleanup, you know, something more concrete that has something in mind, and even reaching out to volunteers. We hear all the time people want to help, and I think it's the time we really start asking. This past Easter Saturday, when we did the eggs, you know, 7 a.m. rolls around, we had all these people willing to help, and I get asked, when's everyone else coming? It's just me and you. No, I get tons of people.
why don't we do this? Are we agreeing to do the breakfast?
It's in our budget.
Okay, if we're doing the pancake breakfast, why don't we just do the and reach out to the volunteer roster, have a checklist of what has to happen. That way we're not shooting fast. Sure. Thanks. So it's broken down by the event, how it's done, that can be used as a template for our events. We have event templates that we can share to people who can use that. All travelers, so we can do that might be. Okay. Thank you.
Keep in mind, we've got just next month's meeting to discuss this, May 1st before.
Oh, and also-
It's going to happen.
Email updates, so that way we're all kind of aligned before. Especially making sure we know how much it's gonna cost to buy the things, who's gonna go out and buy the materials, and where will they be, so there's assigned people. Well, we'll have it all together.
No money, sure.
School might, the Georgetown Community School, you know, again, the last couple of years, I think last year was, you know, because they're on a 4-day program, but because they've extended their school year into June. Because of that, so the kids and, you know, our families are still here, and we realize it's a holiday weekend, but we might get a little bit more participation, or we might get a little bit more participation as far as volunteers, because we still have that ability to communicate with, you know, that group of people. So I think we should just keep that in the back of our minds, or you can keep that in the back of your mind as you're planning this.
Heading into June, we will have our town's yard sale day, along with the soccer. I think it'd be most beneficial to host the town's yard sale day on the soccer, where we have a lot of people in town. We're gonna get the locals out, and I kind of wanted to see how town would feel if we utilize Strauss Park for apartments. We wanted to put their stuff there. Sometimes, you know, we do have the map and we can have them out and go around, but if they're in like, you know, the top floor, blah, blah, blah. Maybe just having one central utilized location for apartment people, it would still be a wonderful, just one spot.
Not Strauss Park taken up by this level.
They're moving to City Park.
They would use Strauss for registration, not now.
I didn't see that in the packet, but when I confirm the same since we have. But it, you know, if we can't utilize Strauss Park, can we have them somewhere else?
Oh, yeah.
Just to give them that option. I know as a new resident, I have way too many clubs and I wanted to participate in just, but where am I supposed to be in this gravel parking lot? We're on 6th Street, which I think someone told me.
So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Even into the community center.
Okay.
It's approximately.
Yeah. You should, yeah, look at the layout of the slacker and see if that little pocket area, and it's always great to, collaborate on things, so. Do they do a pop-up book sale on that day? You know,
Well, yeah.
that could even, well, but that could even draw some extra people and attention over there.
They have the books.
We tend to sell it. It doesn't matter. I don't know how it's small. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't see. I know the answer.
Moving into July, we've got the 4th of July and plein air coming up. There was also, we were thinking and discussing about Olympic planning on July 26th is when the Olympics officially kick off. However, going into this adventure has led into a lot more. So we're partnering with CCMRD to host basically a townwide field day. We're gonna get Idaho Springs, Empire, Summer involved. We're gonna do kind of a little bit of a color war. Historically, we have a lot of rivalries. Just in the Hotel de Paris Museum, there's a picture of silver plume players, and they play baseball in between those ships. I think if we kind of play into our history, maybe do like a little historic Olympic museum in Strauss Park, maybe even get like a running ceremony going all the way down from Empire to Idaho Springs to here, and then we can have something the night before. I think we could really kind of have something fun and maybe something we can continue on and really get our communities together.
What is that? So we're faced with, isn't plein air that same?
I was gonna see, what's the date of this?
July 26th.
That's a Friday. Okay, and then isn't plein air set?
Plein air as well, there will be plein air views. Are open. To boost that.
Right, but you also use, plein air uses a lot of the library stage, and they tend to manage Strauss Park if possible, but if you're talking about, but set any kind of setup. So just be aware of that.
Thank you for that, because I was not.
Sorry.
Like that is something to consider to make sure we've got our trash plan in place, to make sure if maybe some of the pictures are around, maybe more mindful. I think if we don't need them coordinate just to make sure
The more stuff, the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's county place. Such. I think that. One that I blocked out meetings, weeks. So, I think.
If the athletes,
I'd rather have a problem with too many things.
there's a provision though that the athletes have to wear something that's, decade, century appropriate.
No, something that's way, because I love the Texas. It's the arts part of our, it's the arts part. I'd love to figure out a way
Yeah.
when we're doing this, and then this is obviously the soft line. I'd love to figure out a way to be our event last year, HCI. So how do we keep innovating sense of travel left here? How do we keep them in the community on that Saturday?
Yeah.
And we'll have music, and we'll start advertising it later. Music, all the on stage, and then I'll have music at night. But what I would like to do is have something in the business center. Anybody who wants to figure out what part of this is.
Other ideas that we just kind of have cooking, but there's maybe some pickups along the way. We've discussed movie nights. I coordinated with the library, but they only have specific location where they're able to have a film. We kind of discussed that, basketball court right behind the school, across Finley Mountain on his location, that you can project the movie onto that, outline and have a little space for our residents to enjoy a film here and there. The price will probably go up, we'll have to jump through hoops. So if we can't do any of these other ideas this year, these are something we could try to budget for next year. Another idea that we had popping around was in August, we don't really have too many events going on. Not park, but it was Dog Days of Summer. We didn't put that one on last year, leaving a little bit of a hole in that August area, so maybe we can look into kind of a cheeky play on how we're calling in Denver a 10-degree Cooler Fest and doing a polar opposite plunge. Again, those are things we haven't budgeted for. That's music, that's events, that's food vendors. Those are big events that we need to plan for, but knowing that we have other areas that we want to focus on, that can be something we can start planning for next year. Sasquatch Days is something brought up by the railroad. They hosted at the end of July. They've been trying to figure out how do we get them down into here a little bit more on the street. I think if we come up with like little Sasquatch stickers or like put them around the store, and a little passport, we found Sasquatch in Georgetown. Little cheeky events to help cross promote these things and really keep them around. The other opportunity that we've been toying around with was the stargazing. Astro Tours. He's come up with a plan. He wants to host 3 different nightly events in Georgetown. We do have some local food vendors who would love to be around, whether it's coffee for the adult, cute little cookies for the kids, or you actually want like a hot dog or something, I have those in mind as well. I think those would be great. We do have the opportunity in April. We're having an eclipse, of course, we can't now, but to have those kind of unlock with this team would be kind of fun. They were the ones who did donate a bunch of glasses the last time we had an eclipse, and the library has glasses. If you have a problem, so we'll get yours before Monday. But please keep that in mind as we move forward. One place that he really enjoyed was down here at Strauss Park, and then we can hike up the Rutherford Trail. There's so much clear sky already because we have a dark sky ordinance, but we can really utilize other parts of our town. And then of course, smaller, more community-focused events will just be like book clubs, walking clubs, crafts, and a lot of other organizations already do these. So I'm trying to see how we can cross-promote to make sure that Georgetown is fully supporting the community centers and their efforts. Or most of these are the library and their crafts. They just did one with the bunny making hospitals. So those are kind of the bigger things that we could have going. But of course, there's always that question of budget. We have an opportunity to host an event coming up. However, it can be a little bit of a tricky opportunity because they're asking for a little bit of help financially, which is coming to discussion about whether or not Sasquatch will be utilized to secure funding through fundraising efforts. I just kind of want to ask how appropriate is it, if at all? And then if not, should we allow a marketing portion to go to them, and if so, how much? It's kind of been a mixed bag. I've been hearing some thoughts, but I wanted to bring this to all of them to see here. All of it's chopping on something.
But that's a good answer from our events management. I said, but that's a good answer from events management.
No, is that?
It's a historic event to Georgetown. It was probably here roughly around 2015. The event coordinator says it can bring roughly 3,000 to 5,000 people to town. When I've talked to some BPC members, it doesn't sound like it would have that big of a crowd.
Is this like option, is there a reason to name?
Yes, there's a reason we're not naming it because they're still trying to make sure they're able to come here. We can't secure this funding for them. They kind of a wash, just like pond hockey. We need to make sure they secure their lot.
They are not.
They are not pond hockey.
I mean, that's fine.
And nothing like
All
that.
right, so 3 of the 5 of us sitting at this table, no. It's either 4 of the 5. It depends on who you talk to.
There's a private, from what I'm aware of, there's a private event organizer who has approached us to return with an event that's been held here in the past, who's asked from the town is to secure at least 20,000?
At least
At least $20,000, or for us to write them a check for at least $20,000 so that they can bring an event here to town.
I remember this event. Well, because I guess we're still in a contract.
There's other hurdles with this event too, so if we could just talk vaguely, how appropriate is it?
Well, you said it's a fundraising event?
It would be me fundraising that extra $20,000, and if we don't fundraise it, now the town would be on the hook for that.
But I agree with Jess, so let's listen, let's focus on this. Do we feel that the town should be responsible for fundraising, or can we fundraise like that to basically pay a private event organizer to put on an event here? I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. Please convince me differently. I think we already pay our own events manager X amount of dollars per year to provide those events. And I'm just a little bit uncomfortable with us going around with our hand out, trying to solicit another 20 to whatever thousands of dollars for. I just don't think we're that big to be on the map.
I was confused by the term fundraising.
It's not a nonprofit.
I understand, so,
It's a for-profit.
okay, sure. Well, my person, I mean, it's a super business question, is there a term expensive? That's, it's a very expensive. Solid. Not just one number of people, but the actual team that sells their products, just do business. So, I mean, if there's 3,000 to 5,000 people, you can throw around numbers out and say, well, $100 a person. Sure, they like I don't think it's in. I think it's not just like this, but to actually raise money to so absolutely.
And if we can't raise that money and the town has to pay the difference, which could be substantial.
That in the agreement up front says, you know, the town's actual contributions, from the town coffers is going to cap that X. Sure, we'll make every effort in conjunction with the promoter to try and raise the balance, but you know, cap our commitment, and again, the commitment should be based on. The commitment should be based on solid information.
We raised money, we were trying to raise it. That's not. It's just not that.
That is something that will come up, if residents hear that we fundraise, even a smaller amount, but we didn't give what they've been asking for, you know, some residents.
We
say that they
can't
have.
get insurance. You're gonna have to push back.
I realize it's semantics, but that's to me buying a product from.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you know, why aren't we giving you $20,000 to promote? You know, what you're doing, and you're a nonprofit in town.
That's where the business is.
So.
Everything's businesses, that's all nonprofit stuff for businesses. My other thing is, agreement with Lead does. Like what Craig was saying, so we need to talk to this county manager, and find exactly what this is reasonable. there are other costs, there are hard costs, not just the cost of this, that we earn. So your break-even point, even before you get somewhere, is going to be pretty high. It's not achievable. If it involves, we got to think we're doing road closures, what do we have? If it's 45,000 people, that's hugely expensive for us, and then we've got road and bridge involved. Now we have to get higher police. Are they covering all that? Is that what they want the money for? My understanding, if it's the group that it is that we're talking about, that was a huge expense for us, and they expected us to cover everything. And they just wanted $20,000 for themselves, which bothers me. They want $25,000 to partner with us on the event, which is a little more what's going on with on top of advertising. We're not even paying them. So I think it's pretty, my personal opinion, but I think it's cool, man. It's cool. But this is what we went through last time, is that's your job. That's not our job. Your job is to come in and bring something to us, and sometimes we'll offset some things we will partner with. We've got much bigger people than we'll be for the bridges. Anyway, I just remember the whole thing is great. There were a lot of headaches, and I remember some shit stuff. I'm not saying they're shady, I just remember some things that stuck. And usually it's not shady, I just felt I'm sorry. I was we're in a much better position. Speak this moment. Sure. I have two people sitting in this room right now that we did not have the same bandwidth and capability to be actually. I for one, I thought she and there's lots of things. It was, I thought it was
So, I still leave the question, is it appropriate, regardless, if we have an attraction and event wants to come to town, is it appropriate to help them put on there?
I think, but I think they need to prove to us what, our return is going to be, based on their past efforts, wherever it is, or if we have knowledge of that, they need to bring a lot to the table, whoever they are. Because we open the door on this, and, we need that checklist to say, this, some of the things that Craig was articulating, some of the things that Craig was articulating, before you waste time, or any town staff wastes time pursuing something like that.
These kind of things to me, you can slap. So
Not offensive,
So maybe we should close different streets so that they can't get out. Maybe we're looking at this all along.
no.
We talking about.
Like Slacker, how do we meet those people in town? Instead of having the quiet in certain places, what are we doing as businesses to capitalize on them coming back to us instead of understanding that those opportunities there or might not be instant gratification ones, but long-term planning to get reaching a new audience. And that's one of the things that businesses, as a business itself, fall short on. And so looking at this, it's just the expenditure outlay, when we're looking at much bigger, it's not much from us. And then this group, if they, well, you know what, never mind, I'd like to see the numbers
Fair.
before we would start talking about whether or not.
Well, the other portion of this that I got back yesterday is the projected dates have changed. They're looking for leaf peeping season in mid-September.
So they're gonna guarantee.
Right on the pass. So,
It was, the date was one of the reasons. That was one of the issues, was it was exactly. You could say 85,000 people in Georgetown if you're gonna be.
You'll remember last year on Rock Street, how they were all backed up.
Yeah, oh God. So important.
But there's still an analysis to be done, because, as you say, those people want to.
but we did sell out of food that weekend and we ran out of cash, so.
Yeah, really, it's going around.
And we need a bigger parking lot in Strauss Park.
You know,
But, you know, those are our two goals, the time for this specific event. But going forward, you know, I think if we could always look at that ROI, I think we can go on a case by case basis on how appropriate it be. Is that my understanding now? Or more research needs to be done before a final decision?
probably, but. These are things, you're gonna invest time in ultimately. Right, there's the event. I don't view the time, I view the whole experience as. Right, yeah, something, sometimes. Our lives, sometimes.
I think it needs to be very clear to the organizer, is just not talk about this. I'm fine with just fundraising personally. But I'm not fine with an open expectation. I think it needs to be clear in the contract saying, this is what just the town is offering in kind to help with this event. But if it is not raised by the town, we are not held liable at all. It just needs to be clearly stated, and you're saying, the town is going to use Jess to help us find sponsors and things like that, fundraisers. But, and maybe the marketing budget, like very clear saying, not to exceed $2,000. And if any monies are not raised or sponsors are not raised, it is not, it's on you. Well, here's my, I just think it needs to be clear.
My ultimate question here, honestly, and the reason I, where's their pitch? What is their pitch besides a pitch asking? Where is their, what we probably got with the other one, the opportunity we have at the end, where is their full outlay, what we're gonna do for you, how we're gonna plan it, what we're gonna make it, this is what you're gonna get, this is your input on the advertising, this is what you're gonna do, this is what you do. I didn't buy keychains unless I know the keychains gonna look like, how many keychains are you gonna get for something else. I'm not gonna say, I'm trying to work with you on to be able to create RFPs, and then when we working with everybody in town to be able to have a respond an RFP immediately. And that's what we're trying to do, not go, well, yeah, I got a few places we can help you out with, come on up. You know what I'm saying? And that, I don't think we should have this discussion with them until we get something from them. They are pitching to us to do an event in our time. Put that done. Yeah, but where, do they have a whole plan?
They
$20,000.
They gave us a spreadsheet showing all their expenditures.
They showed us now how they'd like to do it, they showed us exactly how many.
So what do they do, guys?
So can you please, two of you, whoever has it, share that with this entire commission? Because even though we know who they are, but we're not talking about it in respect for their, it's like third, fourth party person, whatever. If that information has been presented and there is any opportunity to move forward on this, let's all be on the same literal page with the information that they have. So that when you have a question or Craig has a question or any of us has a question, then we can channel that through Jess and say, we need more information on this. This is not acceptable. I think it's great that they came in and did their pitch to you guys. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But ultimately, we're the ones kind of signing off and on the hook for this because everybody's going to point the finger at us. And, I'd like to have all that factual information in front of everybody that's on this commission.
And are we allowed to agree not to talk about the actual event and what it is? I mean, is that, or is that sunshine?
That's where we're at, just so once it is approved, or if it is approved, they can secure their lodging.
No, I mean, are we allowed, we urge you to just redact the name?
Oh, I'm sending you calls, like, if it's
I
time
mean,
to
you we understand, we have to legally talk about it in the meeting.
It's my, I apologize. I extended this conversation beyond the simple question because I didn't understand.
No, I mean.
No, there's a lot.
I think it's so fair.
Just defense, she was presenting me with this question.
When this organizer approached us, everything's in confidential documents. We didn't want any of this stuff to release. We need to first get his permission that we can bring here to discuss and disclose all these things, even also, you know,
I got
to
that
protect.
approval for the board. We're just not saying it on public record. That's all.
Well, I'm just saying, all the we have seen the docs, but it's confidential. We have met with him specifically, so we can get his permission to discuss that. Or do a special call meeting, but based on time.
Well, my question still stands, are we allowed to confidentially, as a committee?
Yes.
We should share, talk about it, not talk about the name. Legally allowed to do that with sunshine laws, that's fine, otherwise it needs to be protected. But I think any conversation, future, this is not a meeting, money. This is a great conversation for how we handle this stuff in the future. Because honestly, we can say it can just fundraise, but we need to know what the reality is. We need to know that it's a blind, and we need these long these long discussions that are pointless unless we look at the numbers. You know, we brag big time in we're all business people.
And he was kind of similar with Hot. They approached us. We had a meeting, hours long, we discussed all these details. Once the organizer felt comfortable that we were willing to accommodate what this event was, then he committed, and then we were able to make the announcement.
Right, so this is the question that I had previously that I was having the opportunity. And that's why I'm talking about future. I like process. I don't need to make something for small money. I need to change the process. Like maybe I sound too harsh. That's not that what I mean. I think that we need to work on where we can, and if we can, as a commission, understand confidential in negotiation process or in negotiations events that are happening, so that we are not left with our decision at the last minute, and that we can understand better assist the town and better work as a commission to approve or disapprove these things, and to figure out how we can roll out to make the advertising video, how we can roll out to this event's gonna happen, you know, whatever period, how we make that work. So that's where my interest that lies. Like on hockey, I wish we could talk about it immediately after the news. It's on the low. It doesn't matter. None of us knew about this, and it's in the town. Because it's Georgia. Who knows how it happened? Maybe Mr. Promoter talked to a friend of theirs somewhere and that fell around, or somebody big to me about it. Somebody opened a small community. What I would like to know is if we can, for all of our future events that start like this, somewhere in beyond it's a seed, it starts somebody who presents to you, hey, I'm not sure this can happen. We start thinking.
I have to research because I don't want, we're in a public meeting. And so
Well, that's my point.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I have to research that to find out what is appropriate to disclose in the public when the organizer is not willing to talk.
Well, no, my point is, but we're about to talk about this in an email situation. We're allowed things we later discuss in the public meeting. That's what I want to.
I just have a few social stats for you that show that we're growing, if you want to go over those very quickly. I just think the locations are always the important part that I like to focus on, just for when we do my advertising.
I would suggest
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying, we're growing, great locations, that's just for me when we're advertising, get co-location, see if Denver's really high, how do we get them up here, but also if we're on this side of the tunnel, how do we get to that tunnel, so. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I'm going to table wayfinding signage update because that is accommodate before we discuss it. I would like to keep it as a standing item, just to remind us that we need fun. Asia.
Okay, so I sent out a survey and some of you filled it out, thank you for doing that. Mary also sent me responses a little bit later. I printed it, it's a little tiny, but I'm really close to copy of responses. From the responses that are on here, I think that what you're all thinking of is more closely aligned with special events. However, I don't see that there's anything stopping us from just doing, special events and like an actual code of ordinance as well. So that's up to you guys if you want to do that, if you want to test it out with special events first and then talk more about an ordinance once we've seen how that works, then that's possible. Mary's comments in particular were about or something I think we should discuss, it's liability for employers. She thinks the town should assume that liability, and CODA puts that on the business owner. If we did special events that the town is responsible for, then we are allowed to apply for a license and so they have to permit and take responsibility for that. That would be, that's a discussion to be had.
So the special vendor would be. Is it what we're doing?
But we could open up, I don't think we've had a special event where we allow people to walk. Something the intention.
Can we expand the footprint? Which would be actually the original conversation of all of 6th Street. Let's just use the example of Christmas market, okay? Let's just keep it simple, because, because it's going to be all yours in another couple of months, I guess. No, but I mean, I truly think that this is something that the town needs to accept, and it isn't on just 511 Rose because they want to open up their doors. I don't see the communal dining aspect just because of the layout of our town, along the same lines as Idaho Springs has, just because of the type of merchants that we have here and the amount of them or the lack of amount of them. So and I wouldn't want it to be prohibitive to any one or two businesses that wanted to bump out for whatever. I just think the town needs to step up and do it.
When you say the town needs to step up, the town needs to step up and be approved too.
Well, or in at least as far as, because the state statute outlines a lot of the liability and, some of the traffic restrictions and type of things, so maybe that would be going back to, road and bridge, and we're looking at, oh my God, road and bridge has to close it down. It costs around $50 to close the street down. Suck it up, town, Georgetown. We're just doing this. This is the type of situation we're doing it, or if we're doing it every weekend in the summertime, we're having this opportunity. I think that, I may be the only one on the top of saying this, but this has to be something. I think this has to be something that the town is promoting, and it's not just Hotel de Paris, and it's not just Silverbrook, and it's not just Mountain Mamas. It's we're all embracing this. It's all inclusive, and so that it doesn't fall on just one or two people. Because I think then that just adds burden. How are we supporting the businesses and merchants in town if we're saying, oh sure, go ahead, you spin your wheels and you do all that, bring it in for everybody else? Because then it's, well, how is this benefiting 6th Street? How is this benefiting all the other aspects? So why should you foot the bill for, one event?
So This- This is. I'm going to be. I'm not dining. Much, except that, be more engaged with.
I see it more in alignment with an event. Okay, mountain jams. Every time we have music on library stage, if library stage wanted it, could they be, could any of the establishments around there, could then 6th Street be open for that communal drinking as opposed to dining? Because that's bottom line what we're saying. So people aren't afraid to step. My biggest thing is I don't want someone to be afraid to step off the curb and whoop, whoop, whoop type thing.
So that doesn't have to be.
Well, so my question after reading through these, and it's to me, it's a tangled web. Is it the library then who is just providing that and is under the permit, or is all of a sudden Grinnell Pass, Silverbrook, Mountain Mamas, any other establishment that sells liquor, not naming them all off to save time, are they? That's where I would like them to be able, or do we want them? Do we want them to have that ability to just fall into that and to participate?
That's what that's the approach is to facilitate multiple points of sale.
But under CODA, it would have to be Silverbrick and Mountain Mamas, or let's go two opposite ways. It would be Happy Cooker and Mountain Mamas, and they're showing they've got distances that I think now from the information that Jen showed, I think we can modify to a degree what the state is saying. You have to have them in pretty close proximity. I don't know, even though we're a small town, I don't know if Happy Cooker and Mountain Mamas is in close enough proximity to do that. But then does that, so then if the burden falls on you two, then anybody else in between can't participate. And I don't know if that's what we want to do. I think there's this sounds like I'm all over here because I am all over here. Because how are we going to rope it in to allow, now I'll go back to Christmas market. So if Christmas market has what we've had in the last couple of years, and we expand the beer garden, does that allow, or under what conditions would that allow any other establishment that sells liquor to allow their customers to take and walk?
And I think that's the trick, because you can't have multiple providers in this section. Cody, yes, you've got two. Well, right, so anybody who wants to sign up and say, yep, I want to be a provider doing such and such events, so that's the purpose. They become part of the license. That's the point. And then, everybody has common thread. We all use the same product.
Exactly.
That's the only allowable behavior you have beyond actual premises.
And so as a business owner, so your business establishment could participate, and let's say Mountain Mamas, and if just the two of you go into this, are you prepared to take on all the liability and coordinate that and be in control of that situation when that person and whatever licensing you have to go through, because I don't know, I'm not in your businesses. For that person to be walking 2 or 3 blocks away. Are you willing to accept that liability? And that's why I say, I think the town kind of needs to step in and be, you know, take that on.
And that's an interesting point, and I agree, I think we're actually supporting this, we're not just creating this. I think, I don't know how it works. Question. But to your previous point, what I'm willing to do is, that's the business case that non-Montessori. So it needs to make to, well, what they're effectively doing is expanding their license premises for that. That's all that amounts is what it's expansion of license premises.
But it's great when
And yeah, it's your responsibility to manage the consumption of your product in that entire license.
and out of sight, and you know, how comfortable are you gonna be? If it's out of sight, out of mind, and yet you've incurred that, you know, so.
Then that's last track, so that doesn't trouble about that. It's last track. Last business, 2 businesses, selling this, they can be able to sue you, because you overserve someone, you can talk to them, say no, and last thing here is all these rules. We did get together, probably requirements establishment, so then you're covered with your insurance. What I did this, I was following the questions, by the way, and they do discussion. I am for a full district, and I think that it could be on the signage, and with green to go, that's what. Different state, different cities develop. So I've always been for that. Las Vegas. Well, yeah, Las Vegas is one. But if we're to start it with, especially my feeling was it might be better to plan it at certain days and start it with limited, and I'm not sure how that all works. If you limit it to certain periods of time to do it, and then it's up in there. Craig is right. If I do a liquor license, I'm not opening it as a special events person. I've got Steve, now that I have to. If it's my special events license, I have to serve it. It's not just serve. It's everyone who's in this. And I get licensed to sell my beer. And then I could buy into somebody, and I proved that I had a person that did it if something was wrong. And that's potentiality anyway. We can serve somebody when we're at a restaurant. And they can go to the store next door after they went to a restaurant and they can tear up the store and someone can say you sweet. That's an actual thing that can happen. And then they come back to you, last served. This. That's why the law is so strong now, because if you're a waiter and you're a waiter in the university, they get acquired and they come back to your business. And so, you know, that's I think that liability goes back to if you Greg decides they're to reopen open up the tap room, and you decide this week, and you said this week, and Johnny does it. Johnny's not liable, but they are, and that's I think it's a problem. I think the town is going to have probably extra liability just in case it happens. And that's what's okay.
But us opening it is good enough.
Okay, Mike has his hand
Yep.
up.
You know, one thing, I mean, I'm having a hard time hearing somebody on the other side of the room, but I might be repeating someone. One thing in Old Town that we have done when we were going through the pandemic and we had like this pseudo open container going outside and serving cocktails and whatnot. Each establishment had to provide its own packaging, like a to-go cup of sorts, with the warnings and kind of the guidelines of what they can and cannot do, and take the product when they leave the property of that dram holder. And second of all, you know, that cup was branded to that establishment. So if you did have someone being overly intoxicated, they had that cup. I mean, it's not almost 100% guarantee that they got that, you know, cup from the establishment, but it kind of helps, you know, throw some accountability to that establishment. if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was down there during that. It was really well. It was. I interact with Steve down at Time Doctors quite a bit. They absolutely loved it. They absolutely love their common outdoor dining area, provisions. He says it's great for not just his business, but for all the businesses. The non-restaurant businesses love it too, because it gives people more mobility. They've got a fixed period of time they're probably gonna be in Idaho Springs, instead of feeling like they gotta sit in Time Doctors for an hour and 15 minutes to have their 2 beers. They can grab a beer and sit in Time Doctors for 45 and then take their beer down to the Wild Grape, and everybody wins. So they absolutely love it.
And I think it should be noted that, you know, we're talking about liability and what could go wrong, but like Idaho Springs has not had any problems. And most people who've done this, I don't think have had a lot of issues. So it's worth considering worst case scenario always, of course. But the most likely scenario is that it's just beneficial for the town.
Sure, be more likely to take a beer and go spend money and then buy some ornaments for my Christmas tree in the middle of summer.
You should do that every time you visit. It's a Christmas tree.
And I think, you know, a lot of you talk about expanding, you know, to City Park for 4th of July, stuff like that. I feel like that would be a special event maybe, but that doesn't mean we can't do CODA just down here for like smaller regular events like mountain jams. And then when we do want to expand it, we have that flexibility, you know, doing CODA wouldn't stop us from doing special events that are bigger than that, you know?
Yeah.
Or an entertainment district, that's the other, CODA and entertainment districts are both options for that.
Well, I think that it's of course, it's selectmen, and I'm personally, I'll just put it on the record that I'm for CODA in the downtown district or entertainment district, one of the two.
So what parameters can we suggest, or do we suggest, and we don't have to do it today, because we'll run out of time. So that our attorney could start to put something together, because, you know, signage is gonna be one of them, the cups is gonna be one of them, you know. The hours may be, times might be, just to kind of get this rolling, you know, and we get our foot in the door with it. Which we've talked about for years, and then we can expand it when it might be appropriate to City Park or some other place in town or whatever, if that's the case, or that may fall onto a special event. But, you know, we do like a trial run and see how it goes. And so I think that's what we need to do, is to give them guidance so that can come back, and that it's what we feel as business promotions is going to be in the best interest for our businesses.
My nature is between 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
Hard, 5th and 6th, 12 new to 10, hard cut off 10 PM, no alcohol after 10. From
Griffith?
Griffith to Argentine.
to Argentine.
I would say from 5th to 7th.
Oh, to include,
Clear Creek Inn
And the
St.
hotel.
James Inn, whatever it is, yeah.
oh yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah, 5th to 7th, and businesses adjacent to 5th, you're on.
Yeah.
Could we do just commercial and mixed use, does that make sense?
But mixed use, I think, goes
It's already mapped, yeah,
bigger. I
I
think
think it is.
mixed use expands, doesn't it?
But she's on, yeah. She's just south of that.
Right, but that's historic mixed use. If you use the historic downtown and historic business district and historic mixed use, I think we could look at the zoning map.
Yeah.
I think that covers you, because it basically goes one lot on either side of 7th and 5th is where that district is typically drawn, and it covers this direction, right? So it might just, we've got a.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we say Griffith, but what's gonna happen with the hydro plant, what if that becomes a bar, a coffee shop, a restaurant, we don't know.
Sort of mixed use.
But that's still, yeah,
Wait, what?
I just thought mixed use got in a little bit.
Yeah,
Well, I investor, I did investor, they just, now they can look at these, that's right. But you know that we mean.
So you're suggesting noon to 10,
I think noon to 10, because I think that anything later now than, you know, that's where you should be sitting in an establishment being under control. It could be earlier.
I was gonna say, could it be 10 to 10? because like Christmas market starts at
Yeah,
10.
for most centers.
Well, and and that allows you to take your Bloody Mary from brunch out
Yeah.
as you're strolling.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well,
so they
let's-
all have a drinks for, yeah.
I just do that, I just do those numbers out, top of my head, I thought, those are the ones that people really consider this year.
Okay, so page
The 10 to 10.
Okay, so 10 to 10.
Weekends?
Next to you, what day?
I.
Friday,
Yeah.
Every day?
But does that, so, okay, so
Well,
then,
if pushback, I'd say weekends, but but frankly, I think it should be 7 days.
so are
I
we,
should start with weekends maybe.
are we gonna restrict traffic? Because that's another
Yeah.
situation.
So,
I'm just throwing,
well,
don't kill the messenger here,
how I
people.
feel about Sixth Street.
two things. Yeah, I think it should be 7 days a week because quite frankly, June 15th through the end of September, we don't need any more. We don't need more stuff happening on weekends, right? Right, but we do Tuesday through Thursday.
That's true.
I mean, that's the soft spot we'd love to try and hit with this. It's not, it's a potential opportunity, so I don't think restricting the weekends actually.
Yeah.
Is consistent with one of the goals, but,
Cups.
Yes, identifiable,
Branded cups.
and I like, you know, what Mike was saying, and you kind of jumped in on it too, that it's not only, you know, a specific one, but it's
Individual.
branded for whichever, you know, and that again,
Speed
puts-
labels.
Yeah.
right, exactly, it could be an easy sticker, but you know, Mountain Mamas is gonna put their name on it, as is the coffee shop is gonna put their name on it, and Silverbrick is gonna put, you know,
I love
but
that.
it's one
And
specific
the rules that are the parameters too.
I
We should
think,
copy what they.
you know,
They peel the sticker off.
signage on our Sixth Street.
Then you're arrested.
They're defacing an alcoholic
I just-
beverage.
I'll take a picture and post it, say, don't do this, and they'll be in.
I would sell them out.
Street closure and signage.
Yeah, like, are we talking like seasonal too, like just the summertime? Are we saying?
Oh, yeah.
Why would we?
Okay, but, the reason I'm asking is because of the street closure. Are we gonna say street close, Idaho Springs does close it during the summertime, but during the year, they allow it like a one-way?
Yeah,
But see, and that's where we're not really pushing it for dining. Let's, you know, I mean, it could be, I'm not saying it won't be down the line. But we just want someone to be able to, you know, stroll down.
Yeah, it's probably an entertainment district and I am not looking at street closure specifically. If I had my druthers, I think Sixth Street would be closed all the time. Sorry, Coral and the other people who dealt with you in the 2020s. But, oh my gosh, let me put my head in my rear again, but,
I think.
because street closure in Idaho Springs would bring business out in the streets, they realize that a street closure on a main street like that, because all the statistics I brought when I was like talking about it were real. And that's a different thing, we're talking about, like what Mary's saying, we're talking about people being able to walk around, drink, go wherever they want. And then what do we do, close the entire district, that's a lot.
I think the street closures wouldn't be about an alcohol perimeter, it would be about making that street more walkable and
I
accessible.
know, I'm into that, that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, and how, and can we, I think we can treat it as a whole different subject too, if a couple applicants want that. Also, in conjunction with this, apply for a street closure permit, just as we would in our. And that might be where the town can be a little bit more accommodating, not accommodating, it's a better word. Everybody's accommodating, but
Like,
well, maybe the pace is, maybe this is a little more streamlined and it's not quite as involved, or it's very checkbox related. That could be an opportunity for the town to be more welcoming in regard to the whole notion of. the
Well,
dining area. So, but I don't think it should be required as part of it.
No. And the Sixth Street closure anyway, I think that what that's gonna be frankly is, changing, understanding what the community, mindset is on the street that's gonna have it closed. And if they want it closed and better, you know, you can't do something and say, take your medicine, it's not good for you, it's good for you. It was one thing, it was, you know, I can have an opinion all day long, I don't have business on Sixth Street. It's one thing when you're trying to protect the public safety, it's a whole other thing when you're just trying to do something to help people get their business busier. It's up to those businesses whether or not they want it. It would take like someone saying, I have a restaurant here, Lucha opens again, I have a restaurant, and they convince their neighbors that, hey, this is actually better for us, we do this, break it down the street. But if we're doing something right now, that's district wide, and that's why the wise for us, we'll find out what pushback is later.
I think we have to have signs posted, not temporary signs, they're permanent signs that specify that this is it, no alcohol, but not just the no alcohol, but kind of informing people too,
Hey, this is open history.
Exactly.
And then like little geofencing things that their phones go off really loudly.
Or like, when you try to take the cart out of the, outside.
Oh, this is really nice and fence. I like it.
Everyone that comes.
Take all the shots.
There you go. Yeah, or you put it to your lips and all this.
Let's just make sure the signs are destroyed.
That's right.
Okay, so Keisha. anything else?
I think I have some good guidance to
Okay.
put something together for
Yeah,
you guys that you can look at, review and adjust and tweak. So if you have any other notes that you wanna send to me later that you can go, please feel free, and I'll email you guys if there's something that I think of that I need more guidance on.
Okay.
So do we feel any time pressure as
Yes,
to?
yes.
I'd like to have something to you by at least the next GDC meeting, obviously, but if you want something earlier, let me know.
Well, because-
Ideal.
Remember, this has to go
So-
through the attorney, through the board, through first reading, second reading, before everybody gets their ultimate blessing. So I'm just, don't want us to sit on this too long.
Could we do some of this concurrent? Right, Katie puts together a draft, she gets it in front of us, we get it posted for introduction of first reading with the board of selectmen once Jerry's had it, we've hashed out enough details here where.
It can go now to the attorney.
Yeah, during the ordinance approval
Yes,
process.
yes,
too.
you're right. That's right. You can make
Oh,
us-
yeah, well, I have a base ordinance already, so I'll look at that, adjust it for these notes, have Jerry look at it.
And let's.
Next, yeah, and we'll try, we get on the agenda, not for the next board of stuff meeting, but the one after that, does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think Jerry could.
And we're not reading it separately and then say, hey, I don't like these things, let's call for a special meeting, right?
Oh, yeah, but we can always change it first reading.
Yeah, but we got.
And once you do first reading, yeah, because I would love to see this frankly, before opening day.
So if we're targeting the second board of selectmen meeting in April for it to come to the board,
What do you want?
on first reading, we will still have time for this commission to put their eyes on it and suggest any changes before it comes up to our May meeting. And so therefore it could be in effect by the time Georgetown opens.
Yes.
The May Board of Selectmen meeting is not until the 14th. The first, so there's actually a 3-week window there between first reading and second reading that we could.
And if we have like all of our, then if we have a consensus that this is going in the right direction, is my point. Then we will have our work ready to have signed quickly, to be able to roll it out, to have community outreach, that the businesses have time to buy their special pass, or to, if they wanna have them printed, or if they wanna have stickers made, they have time for that turnaround for the stickers and all those good things, right?
Okay, so who's gonna work on the like sticker stuff and then the signage?
I think that should be coordinated with events and.
Mike, can you hear me? Can you do me a favor and
Yes.
get the stickers that you had in the downtown area, so that we can.
Yep.
Thank you very much. No, we couldn't hear anything on this side of the room, and it's all garbled, that's why.
No, it is.
It's really bad.
It's gotten a lot better though.
Good.
Especially that.
Right in the middle.
Once you set.
Yeah.
Let's look at the points of ingress and egress, and we'll get a signed count.
Okay.
And then once we get the count, well, and it's gonna be labor road bridge installation. Okay.
Diane,
But once we get a signed count, then we can
concerns?
come up with the sign.
Suggestions? Thoughts?
Like what you hear, do not like what you hear, I do like bird.
Okay, here's another.
We like that feedback.
Another opportunity.
Don't just put shots in Denver.
Oh my gosh, you brought donuts, by the way, thank you.
He was.
It's before you drink it, no, I just didn't hear. An opportunity or threat, an opportunity to actually look forward to is when we do this, and maybe I'll take stickers on it if he does it right. Is to make sure that we have some sort of sticker system for people that are in place already, they can put in their window if they don't want to have liquor in their business.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what people's religious stance is, what their business stance is, and they may not.
Not get on our armor.
We should have it in advance, ready to go. Here's a sticker if you don't want to see your business, no alcohol use.
And it may also be, you know, I mean, a lot of them already don't want any kind of drinks and food anyway,
Yeah,
so
like
it'd just be one
yeah.
more thing, exactly, yeah. Additional, then we better start thinking though about additional convenient trash situations, because we don't want a bunch of cups littering the sills outside of the businesses, plus we don't want unattended drinks in that sense, so we need to have some additional trash.
You're out for cilantro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And I think that's, as we go with the ordinance, we can start running these things, right?
Oh, yeah, no, but yeah, and that doesn't have to be in the ordinance, but I mean, it's staff considerations, because
Yeah.
that's why I bring up that I think the town needs to step up, and it doesn't fall on you providing trash, you know, those
Yeah,
little,
that's
yeah.
great work.
Okay,
Get the word out there, it's probably a cool thing, if we can.
We're running out of time, so I'm gonna speed this up very quickly. Economic development, Jessica has unable to be here, so we're gonna table that town administrator report, please.
All right, I'm just gonna give you some highlights. We are currently working on an accessibility for ADA compliance with websites. Kasia is kind of spearheading that for us. It's based on the mandates from House Bill 21-1110 or 1110. And we are in the process of working with Wheat Ridge and some other groups in order to get some funding, understandings of expectations of what's costing us. So we are gonna be doing that with both of our websites. It does have a cost, but it's actually much lower than what I had planned, so that's a good thing. And so we've got good guidance right now. So we've also looked through the listserv, through CML to kind of find out what other administrations and municipalities are doing. So we will be engaging in that soon. We have,
Something I think is important to note for that is that any websites that are linked to our websites, we're also liable for. So for the visitor's website, it's something we're gonna have to communicate with businesses that are attached to that website.
this has really opened up a whole can of worms for all municipalities. And so sometimes it's the easiest thing is just to turn off things, because then we're not responsible for where this goes or that document. And so we're looking at all of this, because even some of the higher, more dense populated municipalities are doing that, because it's like they can't afford the repercussions of all the connections and other things, they just turn it off. Or they no longer provide, minutes and access, what you can, if you do a written notice or sending in an email requesting that, they will provide it, but no longer is it on the website for them just to click and get. So this is just affecting everything. And so there's another appeals right now going through the system to try to get more time and a little bit more flexibility for municipalities, but everyone's struggling through this right now. So that's that. We do have, just to bring your attention, the Board of Selectmen is gonna be looking at amending the short-term rental ordinance in order to try to deal with some of the frustration that we're having with Airbnb, specifically of them, they're collecting, but they're not remitting, and you guys are aware of that already. One of the things that this new amendment is gonna address is that homeowner or licensees now will be required that the third-party host sites will remit to them, and then they will remit to us. So no longer they're gonna be outside remitting, it's gonna tailor that down to try to eliminate the confusion of, well, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do it. All licensees will be responsible for it, and then they're gonna be collecting it.
Excellent.
So that's that. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is, this is really still hard for us to try to get any collections from Airbnb. This is a nationwide problem. And so, I know Jeff brought it up to me that the country of Italy has sued Airbnb, and it's a significant, like $600 million that they've just been awarded to then try to, correct this abuse. However, it's going on everywhere in the world right now. One suggestion I brought up to the board, and we kind of talked about, but is kind of do a public shame. And I know that we could ban the use of Airbnb in Georgetown.
Yeah.
And then we can bring the media involved. I can bring other municipalities, because all it takes is one municipality to say, we're gonna do this, and all of a sudden then it becomes a model and they all jump on, and we collectively say, we're not gonna do this. In fact, I was watching the news, Fox 31 yesterday, and they did a big story about Airbnb and the changes that they're doing. So it's like, it gets publicized quickly. Once you start mentioning these things, it's just an example of what we could do. I know that there's repercussions for those things, but, we are struggling legally of how to, go after this to be able to get the money that's owed to Georgetown. So Jerry Dahl is involved in this right now, but it is not an easy, we are trying little things, but the bigger thing is the collective. How do we go together with other municipalities in order to, sue Airbnb? And so anyways,
Airbnb is operating in this town without a business license.
correct.
Well, then we
None
should
of
just,
them have a business license.
Yeah, none of the third party sites.
And so I think one of the very basic steps that we have to do is to follow up with them as we would any other business that's operating in town and saying, you need to be registered with us. And I think that's gonna give us more bite legally to go after them or to revoke their license to operate and to impose that on any of the short-term rental owners that they have to be working with a licensed business in Georgetown, a licensed platform.
It's a good idea. Just some other things to bring your attention from this, and I try to bring things to you that are more business, promotions related, but Bob has agreed to help the town, go through and do an audit of all of our light poles, especially on Argentine. He is going to make sure, looking at the outlets, looking at the lights to make sure we have the appropriate lights, coloration, and I believe it's required to be GFI certified too, those kind of lights. And I believe most of ours are not. So he's going through an inventory so that we can start working to correct those things. Spring projects and summer projects for road and bridge. They're going to install 2 water bars on Rutherford Trail to move the water back into the creek so it doesn't build up going down Rose Street and all the other town streets. They're gonna, at 4th Street, where the school has some bollards sitting there, we have an issue there because there's a Y that actually when the water's running down, it pours down on 4th Street. And then all that gravel builds up and it goes right into the drain, and then we have to get that sucked out every year, and it's expensive. So we're gonna cut that Y off and not allow water to go down 4th Street and just keep it coming down Taos, and then we will redirect it from there, but that's one thing we're gonna do. We will remove the gravel at the top of that too, so that would also help to not create more of a problem that we'll have to dig out. 7th Street Bridge, the plan, we do have plans. The project is under oversight through Ryan Zabel with Road Bridge. The materials have been ordered. There's a long lag time for this, and so I believe it's like 16 weeks or so.
Up to.
16 weeks, and that's to fix 7th Street Bridge, the rail that was torn off. And so that has been ordered and we're just waiting now. I found out through staff meeting that on the other side, the rail's kind of warped a little bit and they were hoping just to take it off and flip it. However, that's not an option. They tried that and it's not gonna work. So they're now looking at possibly putting a cap on top of it. But they're reassessing what that would be. We may have to just order the top part of that and just fix it that way. So, but they're trying to fix a situation. It's not a dangerous situation, but it was flagged from the state that it was time to do maintenance on that part. The sidewalk flagstone at 415 Rose will be installed by the school, and we have the flagstone already. They're just gonna use some of the pieces that we've had in the laydown yards. It's not a lot. But the school has agreed to do it, they just haven't come to us saying when they're gonna do it yet, but it should be soon since spring is approaching. And then our big summer project for Road and Bridge is gonna be, Main Street from 14th to Skyline. We're gonna resurface that. It was on the books last year, but we ran out of funds for that. But instead, we ended up doing all the concrete pans. So now we'll just resurface it to the concrete pan. That's already been done. All the engineering is done for that too. So it's just, it's just gonna be scheduling for them to come. So that's that. We have ordered another trash can to go at the bottom of the Rutherford Trail. So that's that. I want to read something to you. This is in regards to the snowstorm. I know Mary is aware of this, but you guys aren't. So during the snowstorm, you know, we implemented trying to have a strategy to be prepared to allow people into our town, in a code yellow scenario, which would be limited, restricted access, but wanting them to be, well, accommodating people who were stranded or potentially stranded. Code red means we are full at capacity. It's gonna be emergency access only. And so that snowstorm, we went through all of that. We did a debrief time too, and so we've got great strengths, we have weaknesses, we have opportunities, and then just threats of how this can be perpetuated or not perpetuated. But look, I just want to read an email from you from one of a parent whose daughter was involved in this snowstorm. It says, good morning, Mr. Caroglian. My name is Denise Peacock and I live in Colorado Springs. My 19-year-old daughter, Cassidy, got stranded in Georgetown last night. I just wanted to say thank you to you and the town of Georgetown for all you did last night for her and for the other stranded drivers. She was parked in the Circle K parking lot when you came up to her and told her about the community center. She was in a blue house.
That's
the day- that's the
10 o'clock, damn site.
Just waiting for the comments.
Oh, I love it, it's like he's there. Oh, the tornadoes.
Go ahead.
Oh, they're still, they're just more.
Is this Mickey? Sounds like Mickey. They do, I think this is Mickey Fried, so.
I should.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hey, we make music over those things too?
For real, can music over them,
Yeah, here's the music.
I swear.
This is a test.
Well, it's not a test.
For the next 60 seconds.
Well, and I walk downstream. You still have to run to them, on the top of the hotel or the top of the school. So now again.
4th of July isn't on a Wednesday this year, is it?
Thursday.
Oh, thank God.
Yes.
We're not gonna have the variable message signs up.
Yeah. Well, we may do it, yeah, we may do it one more time, until we get to the point where it's a routine.
Yeah.
That's what they're asking for. All right, let me finish.
I think we had them for years.
As Ms. Peacock would say.
Yes, all right. I'm gonna finish reading this, sorry. And then she says, she was in the blue Honda CRV, long blonde hair. She was so scared and felt so alone, and your kindness was able to comfort her. The volunteers at the community center were wonderful to her. I don't know who she was, who spoke to her this morning, but there was a young lady who helped figure out, Keisha, when she could get back on the road. Unfortunately, she made it back to Dillon. I can only imagine what an overwhelming task it is to take care of so many stranded individuals in the middle of a snowstorm. But your town stepped up to that challenge and touched many lives. Thank you. Also, if you know the volunteer who owns a dog, which is Tracy, named Daisy. Please say thank you to her also. Daisy was quite friendly and a good therapy dog. Please have a wonderful day. So, that's why we do this. I mean, I can't say any other thing is, she's my daughter's age. I remember seeing her crying. And there were a lot of people who were stranded. There were a lot of people who were frustrated, and we were able to show kindness. We were able to show what our town is full of. And so it was great. But we did do a debrief over this. We actually did several of them. We did one with our town staff, with the community, and through the county. We had several debriefs with them. And I would say overall, it was a huge success. There's a lot of things for us to adjust and work through. We're also I'm personally going through incident training myself, just to kind of better understand how this can work and then how we work with other jurisdictions. But, for all who were involved, Paul, thank you for all that you did, staying up late with the visitor center. And, I mean, Paul and I text like at 1 o'clock in the morning. We both were exhausted. So thank you, Paul. I appreciate all you did. Craig and Dana also came out to help. We had a lot of volunteers. We had a lot of people who actually came out. And so, we could not have done it without everyone. So it was a town effort, not just staff doing this. But Scooter and Ryan plowed all night. We were the only town in all of Clear Creek that plowed.
Maybe Lehman on his vacation.
Yeah, on Wednesday night when it was really bad, we were the only place that plowed. Everyone else kind of waited until the next day, but that's really hard. We also damaged all of our snow plows. They're not, the storm didn't necessarily cause it. They were already in bad condition, but we're in the process now of trying to replace that equipment because they're at end of life, and we're constantly having to fix the motors on them. So, but anyway, that's just an update. I am aware, some of you don't have to tell me, I'm aware there's some graffiti around town. I do have pictures. I noticed it on the 15th Street Bridge, there's graffiti on there, so we are in the process of getting that removed like we did last year. So it's on our radar. The Colorado Pond Hockey, we did a debriefing on that with staff and with the community. We have strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for this. We did have one complaint. One resident that lives around the lake did complain about the event. He has submitted formal complaints about me and approving this event. I have met with him just recently, and I asked Keisha to be in the room with us. Did not go well. I gave him the whole packet of my review of the attempted violations. I mean, it's unfounded. We followed code. We have all the permits. But we do recognize that there are things that we can do better. I mean, we all recognize that this can be well, done better, but we also know that this particular person has extreme sensitivities, and we will do our best to try to accommodate that. But I've given him all of my data for him to go through, and so that we can have a follow-up conversation. So, but the meeting did not go well, and which I think you anticipated that as we talked through it, but we are hoping to move forward with him so that we can. I mean, it's a community event, and we want to make sure that the community is involved and has a voice in this. And it's not tailored towards one person in particular, but it's for the community. So that's all I have. I guess that's something, we're all aware of this. Our town next Monday starts the Christian Glass trial, and we're gonna have 300 or 400 people each day as they're going through picking jury members and so forth. We are working on a road plan right now, a traffic plan, because we're gonna have so many people in town. We've also been told to be on the lookout because we may have some crazy people in town. I have already received calls of this, and I've tried to.
I don't think crazy is the politically correct term to use under this situation.
Extreme
protesters.
Extreme protesters. So good, thank you for saying that. I have received calls. I have spoke to people on the phone, but the sheriff's office has also, asked us to be on the lookout. They will be undercover, some of their officers. John is also gonna be around the entire time, but I guess the big thing is if you see something, say something, let us know immediately that we should take this, be sensitive and how we communicate and also how we represent our town too, so. That's all I have.
It might be worth, though probably everyone knows, because we've all gotten jury calls.
Right.
But to put that out, okay. Because someone will say, why is it so crowded in town, kind of thing.
The Beth Luther specifically mentioned to me that she recommended we don't post things online about it. So that's just the Beth Luther recommendation.
Well, that's our email.
No,
to our
but this
town
is the
residents.
email.
That's
Yeah.
different than.
And I'm not even named the case, but just there's a major case where they're doing it, it's.
Yeah, we got the email from
Should-
Beth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right, so we've got a little more business here. Minutes approval, March 6, 2024.
I sent some, just some basic corrections or amendments to Jen that I think she's.
Last night or something?
Are we gonna discuss?
No,
Or did I?
no, you already know about it, yeah.
No.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Oh, wait,
We were gonna discuss.
yeah.
Jess.
Oh,
Wait, we're approving the minutes. Are we gonna?
let's table that.
Oh, I wasn't here, I can't.
Let's. Should we just go ahead and approve the minutes?
Yeah,
And then we'll come back,
Minutes
okay,
amended by-
okay, do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Craig and Mary.
Okay,
Craig did it, I seconded.
okay,
Craig did it, Craig.
okay,
And can I ask Jess to leave?
Thank you.
That's okay.
Love y'all.
Well, wait, even,
We're still.
I mean, it's still a public meeting.
I do have stuff to share to the board.
Do you feel more comfortable staying or going? Because she can certainly,
I love
Watch it.
feedback and
She's
opportunity,
She
so.
has all this stuff already, I've given her all.
then I think she might as well,
Okay,
I mean, unless any,
You can watch it online.
exactly.
okay,
You
well,
wanna take the time?
There.
So Jeff and I have already discussed this, I've had a discussion with Mary Sims downstairs, as far as this. But, I guess I'm gonna walk through a couple things. First is, I wanna read to you the section in her contract, what it says. I did an evaluation of Jess in January, which I was supposed to do, and I wanna read the highlights of that. And then when I changed her position title, so that you can see that all this is official. It says on here that, and by the way, when I did the contract, this was approved by the board before this was issued to her, so this is not something I created, this is collectively what we decided before we offered her the position, but I'm not reading the whole thing, I'm just gonna read you the section where it mentions where she has eligibility for an increase in her salary. Since this position is a non-exempt position, you will be expected to work 40 hours per week at $50,000 per year. All overtime hours will have to be approved beforehand and in writing by the town administrator. After your 3-month probationary period, your salary will be raised to $55,000, which would be September 2023. And so I have a document stating after, I'll do that next. And your grade level will also be increased, making your title the marketing events manager. So that's after her probation period, so. You will be eligible for another salary increase after January 1st, based on your performance review and evaluation and abilities to do this position. Okay, we chose to not do that then, and we were gonna wait based on funding and how our budget looks. And so Jess has asked me to bring this back up to you guys, since it is past that period. And so let me read to you the second thing. So in September 28th, this is when she was done her probationary period. So it says, Jess Edwards offer letter promised that after 3 months, September 2023, her title would be changed from marketing events coordinator position to the marketing and events manager position. She was also promised her pay would change from $50,000 to $55,000. I am authorizing these changes to take place for the next pay cycle. So that did take place. So, some people, I guess, didn't know that she was not a coordinator anymore, but manager, but that was official in September. And then I want to read to you the highlights of the evaluation. And so I broke it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5 different categories, and I won't give you the specifics, I'll just read you the summary of that section. So for example, I ranked her from 1 to 5, 1 being, new, low, however, being developed, to 5, you exceed expectations, excellent job, okay? And so, quality of work would be the first one. The examples of that would be produce a thoroughly accurate, consistent work product, errors do not exceed the norms of any employee in this position, produces required amount of work, shares their workload, turnaround time, consistently meets expectations. So, the summary of all that, without giving you the specifics 1 through 5, but the summary was Jess consistently meets expectations in her quality of work. She takes her job seriously and is shown in the reports that she submits, in the content and updates on the website, and in the paperwork that is submitted to the town events. The second one is skills, job knowledge, and that consisted of understands the overall job function and responsibilities as well as specific tasks, has sufficient skills for the specific job, has needed training and applied new concepts and skills, knows and follows town department practices and procedures. And this is the summary. Jess understands her overall job function and responsibilities and has sufficient skills to consistently meet expectations. An area where Jess can work to improve is working with other staff to make sure that she understands the expectations that is required for the paperwork regarding town events and follow through with the expectations. So we talked about that, and we actually went through opportunities to see what specifically did I mean by that so that she can meet expectations. And she has. The third is interpersonal relationships and communication. This consisted of cooperates with administrator, supervisor, peer, citizens, is always courteous and acts in a professional manner, listens to and understands instructions, provides timely status updates, maintains confidentiality, asks questions when uncertain, creates a positive work environment. And then lastly, provides a positive work environment with other employment roles. So here's the feedback or the summary. Jess has excellent interpersonal relationships and communication skills. This is an area of strength for her. There have been some conflict over the last few months in which she needs to work on better communication with other staff, whether this is telling them, giving the situation, explaining what it was, or seeking to resolve conflicts that she was involved in just as fast. And sometimes this can lead to mistakes. She needs to slow down and seek others' advice to make sure that she clearly understands the expectations of the project that she's working on. We discussed that. Jess is, her processor is way faster than other people, and we know that. And she's learned to slow herself down so that she doesn't miss things. Next category is professionalism, dependability. This consisted of consistently completes tasks in a timely manner, willing to work overtime when needed, demonstrates effective and follow-up and initiative on short and long-term tasks, manages time efficiently, maintains orderly work area, responds to emails and calls from the public in a timely manner, responds to calls and emails and texts from the administrator during work hours, and responds to administrator in a timely off hours. Summary, Jess overall is very professional and dependable. She can work on getting back to people in a better, more timely manner. There have been times when people have left messages on my phone because they could not get in touch with her. However, she was able to get in touch with them after that. Overall, people really like Jess, and they say that she's a joy to work with. Critical thinking would be the next category. Considers alternatives and chooses the best course of action, makes effective decisions in all situations, consults with others as needed, thinks ahead and predicts potential opportunities and dangers, asks questions when appropriately. And my comments were, Jess meets expectations as a critical thinker for the team. She does consult with me frequently and is working to consult with other staff. Next category was leadership, adapts leadership to situation, takes responsibility for and is committed to quality work, supports, guides employees in their work, giving regular feedback on their performance, takes appropriate risks. My comments were, Jess is a servant leader. She loves to help others and a great team member. She is dependable, hardworking, and very generous with her time, treasures, and talents. She could improve by taking the time to listen and confirm with others that she understands the expectations better, essentially, with the same comments that I made earlier, just slowing down. And then the last one was management, provides clear instructions and follow-up to assigned staff, and maybe more interacting with other staff in getting them involved in the event process. Ensures safety practices are followed and the town policies are followed, and uses own and others' time wisely. My feedback was Jess's management style is servant oriented, and she thrives when everyone is working together and is encouraging to one another. Areas that she can improve on, has already been mentioned, to listen better, to get clear expectations, and follow up in a timely manner to make sure expectations were met. And, that was it. So she was evaluated, her scores, were very good. And she knows areas where she had to work and improve. And I think that she's done a fantastic job of meeting those, and meeting and fulfilling the expectations that I given her. So where we are right now is, she is eligible for a raise, and that has to be discussed between this group here. We chose not to include her with COLA because we knew that this was happening, that she was gonna get reviewed in a performance merit-based review. And so we were kind of waiting to hear from the board. We gave everyone a 4% COLA increase for this year. So I think at the bare minimum, what we could do is do a 4% right now, and then we can have another time later on to see how the budget is going, and then we can increase it again. But that would be, you know, we have to talk with Mary to find out where we are. I know that there's some monies that are, you said you haven't spent that potentially, but here's what happens. Here's her budget, here is her salary, and we only have this much left to do the other things that you guys wanna do with the budget. So we give Jess the increase, it takes away from something. So I'm suggesting that we do the 4% now. We could then bump it a little bit more for merit, because I think she has done well, so we could do a 5% increase. And then, in a few months later, we can look at the budget and see what's available, and then redo another increase for her. That would be the suggestion.
She's at 55 right now?
Yes.
That's the minimum for an exempt employee in Colorado in 2024.
I'd rather do COLA now, because I think COLA should have applied anyway. It's different. I mean, she'd been hired, you were hired in May. But we're constantly pushing this down the line, and I'm going to suggest that we do it one more time, only so that we get some very specific budget information from Mary, our treasurer, and that we do it all in one fell swoop as a merit raise. I think she deserves a merit raise, but I think COLA we need to get in now, and she needs to be included in the group for that. You know, it wasn't like you were just hired in December and we would have already, looked at that from a salary range. But to do a little bit now, and we can always say it's retroactive, but let's get clear numbers, because we know we're operating, we've been, we talk budget and concerns about budget every month. So let's have that clarity before we say, but I would certainly be in favor of a merit raise.
When did you do the cost of living privilege? January? Well, I think it needs, if that's what we're gonna do, it's gotta be right.
That's fine.
I call it that. Would be comment number one. Comment number two is, I'm cool with, like, we gotta get some very specific numbers from Mary. I think you need to be more specific than that. What number do you want?
I think.
What number do we want to see from Mary that then causes us to make a decision to go ahead and actually, but I feel like based on that review, we are not meeting our commitment that we made as part of the offer, which was an actual raise.
I would like to know what other marketing managers are making, so that we're looking at that, doing a slight salary review. I know they're outrageous, but we all.
Georgetown, I'm cool with not making that.
Well,
I wanna be here.
Well, and Rick doesn't make that compared to other town administrators, so, we have to be real and know the limitations of the pocketbook here.
I'll do a salary study.
But I think if we have that, so that she's not totally behind, there's gotta be some kind of average. I don't know, I'd like to see what it is, 1%, 2%, 5%, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't vote on it, stuff.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't vote on Nebula's stuff, so
Right,
we are
yeah.
in March, she didn't get a January raise, this was supposed to go into effect in January. We should have been voting on it then, so we should have had the actual numbers that we're talking about then, so we're not putting this out another 6 months, and this is not to shame anyone, this is to say, can we get it for the next time, and next time we have a meeting, can we make sure we have these numbers? So that we can better help you do your work right now.
I will do
The
a
4%, I move that at this time, we provide a retroactive 4%
COLA.
raise, the COLA raise to,
Just one.
Just Jones. To Just Jones retroactively, with the understanding that we will revisit the full numbers for a merit raise at our next meeting.
As the first agenda item.
You do have a
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you for sitting through that, but it was a.
You're doing a great job, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job, man. A lot of stuff, second.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't sit back. Sure. I want to see you like a lot. Thank you.